Today we're going to do a deep dive into DXP Cloud. I'm really excited to show you more about what the product can give to you. And we're going to go deep into what are the features that we have and how those features are applied in a real life scenario. So as we said yesterday, going to the cloud, it's not easy, right? There are many challenges and we want to have a successful project. So what do we have to do to accomplish that? Well, we saw many items, and we are now going to see those same items, but now in a real-life scenario. So we first talked about having a solid business case. So let's imagine a pizza retailer, okay? We all work at this pizza company. It's called Liferay, okay? This is the company that we work for. We are in Italy, so why not Liferay? So this company, we do all sorts of pizzas. We do prosciutto pizza, we have mozzarella, parmigiano reggiano pizza, and many others. We have more than 3,000 employees, and we have employees spread all over the country and all over the world. We have different offices in different regions, and now we have this situation where we have our leadership team, and that leadership team needs to connect with those employees and with our customers. So this is really important. This is the company that we work for, okay? So I need you to pay attention to that leadership team. We first have our CIO, that's Mario. We also have our CMO, Monica, and we have our CEO, Andrea, okay? Those faces might be familiar to you. We sell pizza all over the world. So how can we connect our audience and all our leadership team in our company with that market? We have many different systems at Liferay. We have a partner portal, we have a public site, and we have an intranet app as well. So all these systems are in place, and we need to maintain those systems in a sustainable way. We also have on-premise. Everything and all these portals are now running on-premise. So we have many challenges with on-premise. However, we have also many different needs that our company has. We have to go to market, and we have Monica, our CMO, we have Andrea, our CEO, pushing Mario, our CIO, really to deliver all these solutions in a timely manner. We have a lot of hidden costs. Because we have everything on premise, we need to pay electricity, AC, we have to maintain all those servers. Once the technology evolves, now we have to change hardware. We also have a lot of costs with personnel. That personnel is keep rotating, people leave, we have to retrain them. So there's a lot of cost on that. And we also have plenty of compliance standards that we need to address. We are a global company, and in many different markets, there are different needs and different certificates that we need to get. So for them, for Liferay, it's not about the hype. It's not about moving to the cloud just because everybody's moving. It's about actually delivering solutions. It's about ROI. For them, it makes sense to go to the cloud. So now that we decided that Liferay is moving to the cloud, we have to think about what are the providers that we're going to use. And thinking that all providers are the same is another challenge, right? So we saw yesterday there are many different types of providers, and for Liferay, we need to choose one. So we are going to the cloud, right? And there are many options. We have SaaS, PaaS, infrastructure as a service, and we decided to go with PaaS. Now that we know that we're going to use PaaS, it's a nice combination between all the flexibility that SaaS gives, but we have all the power that IaaS gives. That's like really in the middle. So now we're going to choose DXP Cloud. It's a platform as a service that is really powerful, and there are plenty of features, right? Okay, why should we choose DXP Cloud? Why Liferay decided to go? There are many reasons. One is the platform itself. There's a lot of productivity tools inside DXP Cloud, and a lot of flexibility. Another one is about expertise. At Liferay, we have learned tons of lessons with tons of customers all over the world, and we accumulated a lot of best practices from the industry, and we can leverage that in our project. And it's also a one-stop shop, right? At Liferay, I can get the platform, DXP, but I can also get the cloud platform, DXP Cloud, into one thing, and it's all integrated. That's a very unique aspect. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's use DXP Cloud. And this is my project. Let's say we just signed a DXP Cloud deal, and now I'm gonna open my PizzaRay environment. I can see that I have different environments, and they have different types. Some are production environments, some are non-production. I have my dev running in one region, Oregon. I have my disaster recovery running in another. I have another project running in South America. I have another one, my UAT, my stage environment running in Frankfurt. So I can choose different regions. Even inside one project, I can have different regions in different environments. Let's say you have business users that are in Germany, then you can put your stage environment close to them. So that's gonna be a faster experience for them. Okay, we have DXP Cloud. We have our project already running. This is what we give you out of the gate. You have everything provisioned for you. Now we're gonna start choosing the technology stack. I have DXP, which is a great platform. I need to convert this generic tool to my PizzaRay application. Now I need to start customizing. So how I'm gonna do that? There's so many different technologies that we can choose. Starting from the operational system, I have to choose if I'm gonna use Ubuntu, Fedora, like Debian, Red Hat, like so many different options. In terms of database, I also have tons of options in the market. Postgres, MySQL, Oracle databases, there's so many. After that, I need to think about my app server. There's Tomcat, WebSphere, WebLogic. Then the web server that is gonna serve all my traffic, I have Apache HTTP, I have Nginx, and I have to choose a search engine. If I'm gonna use Solr or Elasticsearch, and once I decided that I'm gonna use Elasticsearch, what about Kibana? What about Logstash, the whole stack? So you have to think about all these details. And each piece of the software that you add into your technology stack is another thing that you need to worry about. How you're gonna connect all of those, how you're gonna secure those applications, and how you're gonna maintain that software over time, applying patches, updating versions, and all that. So one good thing about DXP Cloud is that we combine everything into one tool. So we help you make those decisions, and we help you configure all that together. So we give you a stack of services that is already out of the box, all connected and all configured together. So we have DXP for sure, then we have Nginx as the web server, we have MySQL as the database, and we have Elasticsearch. This is how it looks in terms of code and how you set up those services. Here I have a Liferay DXP service, and we have this file that you define those properties. I can define that I have a Liferay service. I can say that I have 8 CPU cores, 8 gigs of memory, all my dependencies, my environment variables. In this case, I have clustering already enabled, and it's just one environment variable, true or false, and clustering is enabled. You don't have to do anything. I can also set up my file storage and how I'm gonna persist my data. In this case, we're persisting the path of the document library. And you can do a lot with only this JSON file. Okay, I have all my services there. Now, how I'm gonna connect them in a secure way? This is another challenge. With DXP Cloud, we have our whole stack of services running, and now I need to make sure that first, they are all talking to each other in a safe way, and also how they're gonna connect to the world, to the outside world in the web in a safe way as well. So here I have my stack of my private network. And I can see that I have all my services connected, and they are all encapsulated in this private network. So none of those services that have access to the outside world, they're all talking to themselves using the host name. And I have a load balancer in front of everything that is distributing the traffic accordingly to the needs of my services. So in this case, this is how they talk to themselves, right? They're all private and they use the host name to communicate. So we have two different load balancers on DXP Cloud. We have a level 3, level 4, that you can do multiple ports. You can do TCP and UDP protocols, and you can also define if they're going to be externally available or not. This is how it works, and this is how you define that. You have the ports, you define the target ports, the internal ports, if I'm going to use TCP or UDP to communicate, and if they're external or not. We also have a load balancer level 7. In this one, I can do even more advanced things. I can have a dedicated IP to point my DNS and create A records that are going to point there. I have custom domains that I can just add and have my pizzarray.com routing to that. And if I have custom SSL certificates, I can just upload them to DXP Cloud and serve to my users using that. This is how it works. I have load balancer, I define the port, I define my custom domains, and I define my SSL certificate. So here I have my project, and I can take a look and see how everything is running. All my services are there, and I can go to this network tab that shows my web server, the URL that we give to you out of the box, all the services, the addresses they have, the ports that they are opening, and also if the traffic is externally available or not, if it's forbidden. Now that we have everything securely connected, we need to establish that new operating model. And there are many companies that they have a mature DevOps operations, but there are others that doesn't. So we want to help Pizzarray to succeed, so we're establishing this model where we have different environments, in this case, just a dev, UAT, and production environment, and I can see all of them in one place. This is probably my favorite screen from DXP Cloud, because in one place you see all the environments. I can see what's running on each and how they are distributed, who is building and who is publishing what on my environment. So those different environments are there, and with one code, with one source code, I can distribute to those different environments. And once I make any change on my code, it sends to Jenkins, and Jenkins is going to send to DXP Cloud. So here's how it looks. I have this builds page, and I have many different builds that were made. And now I want to get one of those builds and deploy it. So I'm going to get this build, put in production, and now I'm going to see this new deployment happening. I can see that it's in progress, what are all the services that are deploying, and once it's all deployed, it's all green, great. Now we're serving traffic through those new services. Another step is about testing everything properly. We have Pizzarray, we have many challenges there. We have GitHub that is already set up for you, and we have Jenkins that is already set up for you. This is something that comes like from day one. You have both already ready to go and ready to move. So for Jenkins, we have many things that are already configured. We have the Blue Ocean interface. We have many different things. The webhook is already configured with GitHub. And here's how it works in practice. This is the repository that it comes. And I can go to settings on GitHub, and I can start seeing my all my files. I can see I have like a Jenkins file with an entire pipeline that is already defined. I can see all the steps, and I can see the webhook that is already configured, that every single push or merge that is being made on this repository is sent to Jenkins. Here's the Jenkins interface. I'm just going to log in with the user that we have. We're going to see all the builds that are running, and I can see all the pipeline going through. If you want to customize the pipeline, maybe add SonarQube or another, your functional test to run before you build the Liferay workspace, you can do it here as well. Great. We have Jenkins set up, and everything is good. But what happens if something goes bad, right? We talked about having a good disaster recovery strategy. And we have seen that if I have a project in one region, we already have 3 availability zones for you that we already handle that. But how those things work behind the scenes? Well, this is really important because another feature that we have is the self-healing capabilities of DXP Cloud. We have different services, and every single service, they have this ready concept that you can really configure and define what is the definition of ready. So for our DXP, for example, we can define the liveness probe, which tells, okay, this service is ready, and this service is live, and we have the readiness probe that defines if the service is ready to receive requests. Those are 2 different concepts. Being live for Liferay is one thing. You're like starting up the portal. It's live, but you're not ready to receive requests. Only after the portal setup, the startup is done, then you can receive requests. So you can define those thresholds. Here, for example, I'm checking a particular path using HTTP and a particular port, and I have configured the delay in seconds. So in 2 minutes, I'm gonna see if my portal is already up, and then I'm gonna check 3 times the success in between 15 seconds. Another important aspect of any cloud environment is monitoring. Here's how it looks on DXP Cloud. We have a tab called Logs that you can see everything that is running inside your application. You can navigate between the services. I can see what's going on my Liferay. I can see the startup message over there. If I have multiple instances in my cluster, I can see each instance individually, which is pretty great. If there's a problem, I can just download the logs, use my own tools to navigate through those logs and debug if there's something there. I can also monitor my CPU, my memory, and my transfer usage. Let's take a look on the monitoring tab. On the monitoring tab, I can again navigate between the services, and now I'm going to the Elasticsearch service. I can see that I'm consuming very little CPU, a lot of memory. I can see the transfer in and out, and I can also filter by last hour, last 30 days, last 24 hours, and things like that. And on top of all that, if you really need to dig into the JVM metrics and check a more advanced monitoring, you can use Dynatrace. We have a Dynatrace integration out of the box, and the way this works is that you can just go to the Dynatrace dashboard, you can visualize the different services that you're running, and now I just want to go deeper into my application. I can see what is the latency of my requests around the world, how long it's taking for each thing, and I can also see all my services running side Liferay and how long is the response time, for example. So if there's one particular module that is taking a lot to return data, we can see that too. Cloud security, important aspect. We at Liferay Cloud Division, we are ISO 27000 and SOC 2 compliant. So it's a lot of work to get those standards ready, and we have been through that process. And that comes out of the box for PizzaRay. They don't have to worry about that security aspect. So we have different environments, and we need to make sure they are all secure, right? We have different team members working in these environments, and they have different access levels to each one of those environments. And I have DXP and DXP Cloud in the middle of all this, right? So how does it work? First, let's talk about authentication. So at PizzaRay, we have our SAML server, and all my authentication goes through that SAML server. So I can set up that on DXP Cloud. So here's, for example, I'm just logging into DXP Cloud, and I can choose the single sign-on option. In this example, I'm using the Liferay.com SAML server. It's a different server, and I'm logging in using my Liferay email. But it's just to showcase that any single sign-on, any SAML server can be configured to have your users accessing DXP Cloud. Other aspect is the team, right? Software is a collaborative craft. So we have to collaborate with other people there. So on DXP Cloud, I can go to my Teams tab. I can see everybody that is invited there. I can invite a new user to my project, and I can set up what is the role of that person. Is it an administrator or just a guest that just needs to see things? And each one of those roles, they have different responsibilities. The admin, they have full access and full control of everything. The contributor, they can manage the environments, but they cannot make admin changes. And the guest, it's mostly a read-only thing. Next one is activities. And I can see everything that my team did, right? This is important. Auditing all the activities from your team is really crucial. If someone did something that was not great, you can look at who did it, what they did, when they did it. So you have full control and full visibility of every single action that happens on the system. The other step is moving everything at once. It's a big challenge, right? And we recognize that big enterprises, they have different systems. And those different systems, they need to connect to DXP Cloud. So one approach that you can use is use VPN and have this hybrid cloud approach where you can have your servers and other applications running on-premise, and you can still use DXP Cloud and have those two connected. So at PizzaRay, I have my ERP, I have my HR software, and each one of those needs to connect to DXP Cloud. The way we solve this is by using the VPN that also comes out of the box. So I can go to the settings tab and I can start setting up. I can choose OpenVPN or IPsec VPN, and I can put my server, what is my user, the certificate, and then I can point what is my IP inside that server and what is the port that I want to use. So we do this forwarding port capabilities that once you connect, you can really use that same system as if it was inside DXP Cloud. Here's how it works. I have my ERP, for example, and I'm going to communicate to my other services. Let's say Liferay DXP needs to connect to that. So my ERP, there's an IP address on that, and I have my host name and ports on DXP Cloud too. So I can actually map that IP into my project, and then I can have this ERP system running with a local host name as if it was inside the server. Backup is also crucial. Having your data properly secured is really important. So on PizzaRay, we have our entire backup history here. I can see what is the frequency that I'm running every 12 hours, every day, or every hour. And then I can create a manual backup, for example. Once I create, the backup is there. It's going to back up both my database and my document library. So we do that in a really nice way, and it really takes a lot of effort to do backups of Liferay in a reliable way. And we do that by making a dump of the database, compressing the document library at the same time, and then saving that to the cloud in one artifact. You can also customize the backup, not to just run manually, but also to create automatic backups. So here I have the same process that I had before, but instead of just running manually, I can set up a frequency that this is going to run. So the crucial piece here is that you have data integrity and no corruption at all. You're just reusing all that same functionalities, and if you need to restore at any time, you can. Which is the next topic. How you restore a backup, right? Let's say something happened, maybe someone manually did an intervention that was not great. So now we can choose one backup and say, okay, I'm going to put this backup in another environment, and now I can restore it. So once I'm running this, I'm grabbing my backup, putting it on my environment, and now I have the same data in this other place. So what we do behind the scenes is that we prevent the database from being written. We stop the DXP instances so there's no writes on the document library. And then we bring this backup from the cloud and put it over there. We also have unexpected scenarios that we need to deal with, right? Let's say for PizzaRay, we have all our services running, CPU, memory transfer, everything is great. But then there's a sudden spike. and now everything is on fire, right? We don't want our services to go down and have things offline. So I can actually go to DXP Cloud and configure things to prevent that. Also, if I have an unexpected traffic, like a Black Friday kind of thing, if I'm using on-premise, there's a lot of challenges, right? I have different services that are running, and I need to buy another machine because I need to be ready for this holiday event, then another machine, then another machine. And maybe Black Friday is over, now I don't need those anymore, so then I have to shut it down, and now I have unused hardware on my company. So it's really not ideal. The benefit of the cloud is that you can auto-scale, and we also have that. So auto-scaling keeps your business safe because you can just turn it on or turn it off depending on your needs. So, and you pay for what you use too, that's important. So let's turn it on, our auto-scaling. I go to the Liferay service, and now I can just enable auto-scaling. I have only one instance running right now, so I can enable that. And if I want to disable at any point, I can also disable. So let's say that now I have a lot of traffic, and things are, lots of users are coming in. I just scale to another instance automatically, and you don't have to do anything. You can also see when it was scaled and for how long this new instance was running. This all works in a cluster scenario, and that's another challenge with Liferay, is setting up cluster properly. So on DXP Cloud, we already do that for you. If you're using 7.0 or 7.1, we use JDBC pings as the discovery method for clustering. So if you want to know that your instance number 1, 2, or 3 are connected in the same cluster, the way with the JDBC ping, the way it works, it saves a record in the database, and that's how they know how to talk to themselves. On 7.2, we actually have another discovery method using Kubernetes, which is our engine for managing all the services. So you can use DNS ping, and this is a even more fast way to discover the instance in the cluster. Basically, the way it works, it uses A records to identify the one instance and another belong to this cluster. And that's for 7.2. Oh, just one other important thing. All this is running with elastic licensing, so you don't need to worry about, okay, now I'm adding another license, and managing all these licenses is also tricky. And for auto-scaling, what is really important is that you have sticky session on your load balancer. Why is that important? Imagine you have all your users coming through your cluster, right? You have different users, and my load balancer is distributing the traffic accordingly. But now there's so much traffic, and I need to put another instance. So how am I going to distribute that? We handle that for you, and we're going to put the users on the proper instances and balancing those so you don't have to just have like one instance that is like using 100% and then another with 5, right? And if you're in a commerce scenario or any mission-critical application that needs to store the session, let's say you put a new product in the cart, so now you don't want the user to lose that product from the cart, right? So you can actually save the session. So at the end of the day, we at PizzaRay, what do we want, right? We want Mario, our CIO, to be happy because now IT can deliver with confidence. We want Monica, our CMO, to be happy because sales are growing and they can evolve faster. And Andrea, our CEO, is happy because now they can focus on what really matters, right? At PizzaRay, we know how to do pizza. So we don't want to, we know it's important to understand and have technology in place, but this is not the core of our business. So DXP helps with that so you can focus on what you really know. So this is a fictional company, of course, but we are helping like real customers in real life scenarios, very extreme and very unique scenarios like the Vodafone, Correos de Chile, Positiva insurance company in Colombia, Gympass, and many other companies that we are working on. And we are really excited. Like now, all these customers distributed all over the world, and we're just starting. Like We really want to work together with all you on this, and it's pretty exciting. So if you want to know more about DXP Cloud, you can visit our booth. We can answer all your questions. We're going to be here. And you can request a live demo. So you can go to DXP Cloud, to liferay.com, and go there. We have a website with tons of information. And as Brian mentioned yesterday, we have a whole new journey that is online available for you. So you can choose your role and you can navigate through the DXP Cloud experience using that journey and understanding what to do in each step of the way. So that's really exciting as well. So thank you so much, grazie mille, and I hope we can do that.